Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Paperboy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And it is Saturday BOLO Day. Now a lot of you out there are saying, what's a BOLO? And Mr. Magazine's going to tell you.
Sounds like something like you have like a yo-yo in one hand and a bowling ball in the other hand.
And you juggle along with a baby and a chainsaw. Yes,
exactly.
That's what some people...
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout.
Some people call it that. Other people say it's be on the lookout. These are all items that we have sold, sales highlights from the last week over on eBay. And we go into the deep dive into them as to what they are, why they sold, tips there for you when you're out there, what you can find as well. And Mr. Magazine might have been running late tonight, so I pulled all of them up. So some of these are going to be a complete surprise to Mr. Magazine as well, which are sometimes some of the best shows we have. Take it away, Mr. Magazine.
Well, I like to stump my employees sometimes by giving them something confusing. And they look at it and they say, this is never going to sell. And believe it or not, it did sell. 1960s thimble drum prop rod base piece with working axles and wheels sold for $44.
Okay, well, first off, I believe they spelled axle wrong. Second off, what is it?
It's the base of a car, like a die-cast car. Or maybe, die-cast car.
Do they mention what size it is? I just saw this and I had no idea even what it was. Or
it's pretty big size. I think it's like 1/18 scale, but they didn't say that.
So it's not okay. So I was wondering if it was like a slot car base or something like that. No, it's it's
an old style car, race car, and we don't have the rest of it.
And $44 for it.
Yes.
Do people generally swap the bodies out on those, or
they must be hard to find? Or maybe this is an upgrade, and maybe theirs is rusty, and this is a lot cleaner. I don't know, but I'll probably never see another one again. So
I just was stunned, and I had no idea. Of course, it was 1/18 size, so I brought it up just to see what it was. And okay.
They didn't put it down below anything like that?
Oh, I don't know. I just pulled it up. Nope, comes to show it. Nice.
Yeah, good for us. All right. Hey, less is more sometimes, believe it or not.
Apparently, they must have known, whoever bought it obviously knew what it was and knew $44 to pay for it.
It had a lot of information on the bottom of it. So.
Oh, okay.
Next up, 1970, using that vintage word again, wasting that space. 1972 Ideal Evel Knievel action figure on original card. It's in rough shape, but it's still sold for over $50.
That seems low to me. What's it sell for loose? Doesn't it sell for $25 to $30 loose?
Yeah, but I mean, it's almost like loose because look at the color, condition of the uniform, and the package is messed up. So,
right, because that would have been something other than, because in my head I know that I know that a complete figure is going to sell for $25-$30 bucks.
Yeah.
So if you had that out for $50, I'd be going, boy, I would have thought it'd be worth $75 to $100. So
yeah, I mean they're popular, but that white uniform is kind of common. There's a red, I think a blue one.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Did they sell those?
I think they were like
separately?
with sets, either clothing sets or with other, vehicles that he had.
Oh, I have no idea.
Yep. Next up, Hot Wheels Looney Tunes Rockster 1/64 scale.
What year is that? Like roughly?
It's recent, probably. Let me see here. Yep.
Last few years then.
Yeah. Well, I don't see Tasmanian Devil or Taz in the title.
No, but yeah, that is true too.
For $18.
So that kind of surprised me though, because it's $18 plus shipping, so they paid $24 for that. And if it's fairly recent, you could probably find that out there. Somebody or other, has it on open at a sale or something like that. And I'd walk right by it, because the estate sale people are going to ask $2 on it.
For sure.
They're going to have $2 on it. I'd say, whatever.
I feel like it's the last 3-4 years.
Oh wow, that just surprised me. That one did.
All right, next up, Life Magazine, August 1964, Beatles cover, Fidel Castro. At least they put Fidel in there, and we got $46 out of it.
And the reason I brought this up was because it sold in a month and a half, and Life magazines are fairly common out there. So I wanted to bring this up as being one of them to look for in a pile, and the fact that you sold it in a month and a half, I think is huge.
I haven't had very many of this issue, so people are keeping them. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but you will be able to find it out there. Maybe you won't be able to find it out there in a pile of them, but maybe you'll find it for $10 at an estate sale.
Sure. All right, next up, Pegged Leg Pirates of the Galaxies.
Do you get it? Galaxies.
Yeah, I do get it.
See, you get it. He's like a space. Yeah. Some people call me the space cowboy.
Yeah, he's a space pirate.
Some people call me Maurice.
Peg leg. They can't.
Some
name him
people call
Pete.
me the gangster of love.
They can't call him Pete. Peg leg Pete. Anyways, vintage 1985.
Because I speak of the pompatus of love.
Yep, we're getting far in this one. I can't wait to do that back to. Anyways, I think it went for about $60.
I've never heard of Pirates of the Galaxies, and that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, Remco did a line in the 80s when wrestling was hot. You know, what was it? The WWF, and then they had the other league too there. But anyways, they did the wrestling figures. They did characters like this. So they did a whole line, and they all look kind of like He-Man characters. Yep.
And as far as you know, did this come on a card?
Yeah, they're definitely they came on a card. Super rare on a card.
Okay, that's what I was just going to ask on that.
It was
as well.
Remco, so I'm sure it's not a thick backing. It's probably like thin and chintzy, but
right. Wow.
Is this still me?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't use vintage at first.
Another wasted word. Accordion with fitted leather case, Italy, 69 of 362, whatever that means. It does work. We don't know what brand it is because my lister didn't put it on there unless it's not on there. But regardless, it sold for $300, and I don't know how long it took. Probably a year or two.
Well, 22, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So year and a half. The reason I brought it up, you're listing 7/1/22. The reason I brought that up is because we always talk about you'll buy anything, including accordions.
Yes.
So I just wanted to bring it up just to show that
I'm not lying.
that it's 100% true. My other question for you, you stated working.
Yes.
How do you know?
I think he probably spread it apart and then closed it, and a sound came out.
Okay,
Exactly,
because I don't have any idea with accordions as to it made a sound, but do they need to be? I'm assuming they need to be tuned. Is it working right? Is it?
Exactly,
did the right kind of sound come out? I don't know. That was kind of what my other question on that would be.
He did give a lot of pictures, so hopefully that'll help. Well, that's not gonna help. Neither is that. But that's the bird's eye view. And
is it plug in, or what is that? No, that's a strap for wearing it. Okay.
Yeah. So we don't know if that the thing that spreads open, if that's in good shape, if there's tear, I don't know.
Right. That's what I kind of was wondering.
That'd be my only concern there. But we'll see what happens. So far, so good. It's paid for. It's shipped out, and cross our fingers.
Nice. And the last one is yours,
All
there.
right. Vintage 1960s Playboy ashtrays, orange. The Playboy Club Key Girl 4, whatever that means.
4-inch.
4-inch, and was listed a few months ago, and it only went for about $12 after my 50% off sale.
And that was my question: is that, again, this seems to be, to me, to be a sucker's bet then, because I would think that two of them would go for more than that. And that was another reason why I wanted to bring it up. One thing that we try to do in these videos is we try to sometimes show you sucker's bets because you're out at a sale and the guy's got these out there for $5 a piece. You're like, wow, 1960s Playboy, that's got to be really, really good. Right. And it turns out you'd be losing money if you paid $10 for the two of those.
Well, let's go back a week, 10 days when it was only 30% off. At that point, I still had it for 3-4 months, and not one person's made an offer on it. So I'm thinking my price was high at $25. Now you make the sale. I'm sure I made some money, not a huge amount, but at least it's gone and out of here.
The other question I would have for you, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know. Did they do those in different colors?
I'm going to guess they did, because why just use orange? But
that was exactly where I was getting to.
I mean, I'm sure they would have done maybe black with gold trim or white with gold trim or black. So I'm going to guess.
All right. Yeah, no, I just was wondering about that as well. But again, that's one thing we try to bring out here. Not everything is a home run, and a lot of times, we mentioned it any number of times in our videos, a lot of times knowing what not to buy makes you as much money as knowing what to buy.
True.
First item I have over here is Honey Recipe Booklet, Lot of 7. Tammy Jo, Inman, Jean, Messiangelo, Honey Queen. Me too. This would be one of those lots. Now, I listed this in 2020. Now I would probably break it into 2 lots and sell it on Whatnot at $3 a lot. Maybe get a bid or two on them. So maybe these would go for $8 plus shipping over on Whatnot for the 7 of them. Which raises a question, Mr. Magazine.
Yep.
I got $30 less shipping, so I got $25 for them. Took 3 years.
I like the 3-year plan.
All right, that was
Long
my
tail.
question.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I didn't pay anything for these. I know exactly where I got them from. They were throwing on a deal. So I have nothing into them. Am I better off getting $25 less fees in 3 years or $8 less fees in a week?
You know, moving forward, you might change your mind and go with the $8 short term because you're changing your business model. But this still worked out. So either way is a winner.
Right, because I could have taken that $8 and flipped it many more times between now and then.
Sure.
So, but I think the reason I want to bring this up, A, to pick your brain, and B, just because, again, there is no right or wrong answer. Because I could have gotten that $8 back in a week, less fees, and then gone to the flea market and bought $100 worth of stuff for $6.
Yeah, or you go with the theory that, hey, these are thin, they don't take up a lot of room, so I can long tail them. But if those were all gigantic hardcover books, no shot. Who wants $30 when you can get $8 and move that huge box out quickly?
Yeah, interesting. So, and again, that's another thing we always like to do over here. We don't, unlike other stations or other channels, we don't often give you answers because there's no right answer most of the time. We've said it any number of times, there are no right answers, there are wrong answers, and we try to steer you away from the wrong ones, but then it's a matter of preference. Would you rather have $8? And comment down below on that over there. 3-year difference, you can get $25 or you can get $8, but it's a 3-year difference. Yeah, and Mr. Magazine.
Or nothing. You could choose nothing and keep them forever in your collection.
Or choose nothing because this happened to sell in 3 years. It could just as well not have sold in 5 years or 6 years.
Yep.
So you've also got that. Up next, President Cleveland's. Now, I did say Grover Cleveland. Okay. President Cleveland's reception, March sheet music, 1887. Got $38 out of this. I'd never seen it before.
Seems cheap. No,
I don't know.
150 years old almost.
I'd never seen it before, so that was the reason why I bought it at the sale where I picked it up at. I probably paid $1 for it, I would think, something rather like that.
You need to get into more sheet music. Seem to be doing well with that.
Yeah. Sheet music's really weird. I've not found very much of it this year at all. It's just not out there this year. I don't know why. I don't know if the estates aren't coming open with them or somebody else is out there buying. So one of our subscribers is watching the channel.
I think you bought all the good ones. That's it.
Or somebody's watching a channel and beating me to all the sales. Could be that as well. But no, it's kind of interesting, though. $38 on that. Up next, it took a $24 offer on this. Riverbend Music Center, Backstage Magazine, 1993. Van Halen, Aerosmith, Jimmy Buffett, and many other people as well. I had multiple pictures on there. There was a list of everybody that would be in there. So pretty important to have that as well. And I believe this was some magic place where I didn't mention where Riverbend is. I think it's Cincinnati if I remember right. But yeah, this kind of thing over here, again, to get $24 out of this granted it is 30 years old now, but it does have a lot of big bands and all that kind of stuff. You can find these things out there for sure. And to know you can get $24 out of it, definitely worth picking it up when you find it because you're going to pay $1 for it is what you're going to pay. Next up, the Rutrow Study Bible. New American Standard, 1978 Moody Press. One very important thing on this over here is to mention in there, which just does have a name on the FFE, which was crossed out. A lot of times people like to give these as gifts. That's why you always got to mention whether names are filled in or names are on it. I probably priced it a little lower than I otherwise would have just because of that. That being said, $28 for a Bible. A lot of times you can find Bibles for $1 or less out there at sales. Take a look at them, take a look at the condition on them, and a lot of times they're very, very good buys. Even though there's stuff from the 90s, and this happens to be the 70s, but even 90s Bibles do sell, and you can pick them up for $1 or less.
Awesome.
Well, up next, Buddy Emmons catalog. Now I'm going to admit, I didn't know what a pedal steel guitar was, Mr. Magazine. Do you?
No, and I still don't.
Basically, it's a guitar that looks like a keyboard.
And Buddy Emmons looks like Sonny Bono.
But yeah, I did not know that whatsoever. Now I saw this out at a sale and I paid 50 cents for it. Ended up getting $28 for it, which very happy to do, to get that out of it, and it sold in like a week and a half. Wow. But again, there cannot be a lot of catalogs of this out there whatsoever. The other interesting thing is it's catalog 734, but nowhere in it did it have a date. I'm guessing 1970s, but nowhere in there was a date as well. But yeah, if you find music instruments, as far as well, Mr. Magazine will buy the instrument, I'll buy the catalog. That's what it comes down to.
Good deal.
So when somebody comes in with a pedal steel guitar, now you'll know what it is.
I'm on it. And
finally, the last item we had today, TV Radio Talk Magazine, September 1978, Farrah Fawcett, Suzanne Summers, John Ritter. Got the $32 out of it. I paid $1 for it, so quite happy to move that as well. I do see John Travolta up there. Basically, I couldn't fit his name in. That was what it came down to. I probably could have taken the word magazine out.
You know what I see? Farrah Fawcett doesn't take her sunglasses off when she tans.
That very good. Very, very good.
Yeah. The glass is half full.
See, and we're the only channel breaking that news. That deserves a like button right there.
Unfortunately, we can't tell her that now. But you know.
No. But yeah, so got $32 out of that 1978 magazine, which is fairly new. And a little inside tip on this, you'll find. Well, let me ask you this, Mr. Magazine, before I tell them the tip. Movie TV magazines, 1900, which obviously is before the TV stuff, would be movie stuff.
Yeah.
1900 through the year 2000. So 100-year range in there.
Okay.
Give me your opinions as to what's good, what's not good, just in general.
What do we say there? 1900, early 1900s?
Yeah, 1900. You know, the movie, the silent film, so 1910, whatever, through 2000.
Like celebrities in general? Or
No, just
the titles.
Should you buy or should you not buy in general? Like, what should you stay away from? If they
I would
had
say
them all,
it's a sucker thing because you're not going to get them cheap. And I think there's more that don't sell than the really good, the really good covers. They might go for a lot. They may want a premium for an early Marilyn Monroe, or go back even further, Clark Gable or something on the cover. So maybe they want $50. It might only be worth 40 or 50.
I guess my thought would be if you could get if they had them out there. All right, let me put it this way: you go out there and they've got a gigantic collection of them. They're not going to bulk. They're not going to bulk them out to you. Okay. They refuse to bulk them out to you.
Yep.
Titles. Same condition across, general condition. 1910s through the year 2000.
Ooh.
What years are you picking up, and what years are you passing by? In general.
Yeah. So, sadly, the new ones could sell. I'm definitely picking up 1910 through World War II era. Anything in that time for sure. Man, I feel like the 60s are going to be dead because they made a ton of that stuff, 60s and 70s.
Funny, I would say 42 through 72, I'd be very selective on what I bought. Anything prior to World War II, I'd be buying.
I think 80s are going to be popular, 90s less popular. Then the more current stuff could be popular again.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And so we both, we both been around magazines for a long time. The stuff from I'd say about 48 through about 72 is actually fairly common out there. There's a fair amount of it out there, and in a situation like that, now, not that I wouldn't obviously pick a Maryland cover for $5, not that I wouldn't, but just in general, the early stuff, the 1910s, that stuff's crazy high price just because there's not a lot of it out there.
Yeah.
And more people are interested in something or other from 1992 than they are from 1962 because who knows who half of those actresses are at this point.
Yeah, like 70s and 80s, it really turned into like 80s and 90s sports cards, like the junk era. Obviously there's some better titles, the Springsteen Time, Prefontaine SI, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's very common, most of it.
Yep. It even goes back to the 60s. A lot of the 60s stuff is very, very common. Yeah. And I think another reason for that is because a lot of the estates, as they're closing out, they have a lot of the books from that era. So the market's getting flooded with stuff from the 60s as well. So it's kind of interesting because you would logically think older is better. And wow, I can get a stack of 1960s magazines or I can get a stack of 1990s magazines. Let me grab the 60s. You actually might be better off with the 90s.
You're going to pay a lot less for the 90s probably too.
That's true too. You probably get those for a quarter a piece in general. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Again, we don't do our BOLOs like anybody else does. Obviously, we get off on tangents. If you could hit the like button, we would definitely appreciate it. And we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.